that's Israel first. He's backing the administration that brought us to war in Iran, and he's going to have to defend this war as part of his record in 2028, even though it's deeply unpopular for many reasons. He's going to have to get creative and thread the needle. He's going to have to at once own up to his involvement in the policy while also distancing himself from being responsible for it. And I said a couple of days ago, I said, what's going to be the mechanism? I said, Vance will say, my job as vice president is to support the policies of the president, which is what I did. And to the extent that I disagreed, I'm just trying to achieve the best outcome. I'm trying to make a peace deal. I'm doing my best to make diplomacy succeed. And so even though I was not in a position to betray or oppose the president's policy, I did my best to mitigate or ameliorate the damage. I said that a couple of days ago, and almost bar for bar, word for word, he said that on Joe Rogan. But the larger issue, the thematic issue, it's not specifically just about the war. Of course, it was also about Gaza, and it's about the foreign aid. And it's like Joe Rogan said, it's about the broader conversation about Israel's money in our politics, their control over our media, their influence over certain politicians. So Vance has this problem that at once, just like with the Iran war, there's another contradiction. At once, he needs to pander and appeal to this growing number of people, especially young people, that are anti-Israel. At the same time, he cannot completely alienate the Jewish right in America. It's only about 20% of American Jews are Republican. And they're all Republican because they're pro-Israel. They're Orthodox Jews or they're secular but pro-Israel. Not ultra-Orthodox, don't get it twisted. They're either religious Orthodox Jews having conservative values and supporting Israel. Some of them are secular Jews and they support
you know
Israel.
what?
Like
why don't we just fact check it? So, look at that. So approximately 70% of Republicans express sympathy towards Israelis over Palestinians, and around 76% support continuing U.S. military aid to Israel. However, support within the GOP shows a stark generational divide, with a majority of Republicans under 50 viewing Israel. So with a majority of Republicans under 50, so it looks like the younger folks are viewing Israel unfavorably, and a significant portion preferring less U.S. involvement. Interesting. Now let's see. What about the Democrats? Support for Israel among Democrats has significantly declined, with 80% of Democrats and Democratic-leaning independents holding an unfavorable view of Israel, while a baseline of 75% still supports Israel's foundational right to exist. So for me, I believe that like Israel has a right to exist completely. Absolutely. I think every nation, including Iran, has a right to exist. And there's no question there. So yeah, it looks like Democrats, they are like not really feeling Israel, and then the Republicans are. Now, I wonder, what about a place like Ukraine? Like, who is supporting Ukraine? Let's check it out. So while the majority in both parties sympathize with Ukraine, Democrats overwhelmingly favor robust military aid, 75%, whereas Republicans remain deeply divided, with 59% favoring weapon support, but 37% wanting to decrease or stop it. So there you go. So it looks like we have like a larger percentage of Democrats supporting Ukraine as opposed to the Republicans. And then when it comes to the war in Israel and in the Middle East, then you have majority of the Republicans supporting Israel and then the Democrats supporting the Palestinians. So very interesting. What do you think is the reason for this divide, guys? Like, let's talk about it in the chat for real.
Bill Maher is one of the biggest degenerate perverts in the entertainment industry. And he's well known for that. He's a totally disgusting human being. And he's a secular, pot-smoking, atheist, disgusting, vile liberal, but he's one of Israel's biggest defenders. And that's why he loved Christopher Hitchens. And that's why he even likes Donald Trump. And that's why he's increasingly critical of woke. Not because woke is too far left, but because woke is anti-Israel. And Vance can't afford to lose these people because they are a major base of donor support for the Republicans.
He says woke, I guess he means Republicans. I'm sorry, Democrats. He means Democrats, right? I believe those are the woke people, according to like Nick and apparently the far right, what used to be the far right, because I believe Nick Fuentes, he was once far right.
So he can piss them off a little bit, but he can't totally alienate them. So I said a couple of days ago, Vance is going to need to try to find the middle ground. I said, and what he's going to try to do is give just enough. He's going to try to breadcrumb the Israel critical people. And he's going to try to do this by saying things that sound like they're more based than they are. He did this when the MOU was announced. When the MOU was announced and Israel was not implementing the ceasefire in Lebanon and effectively sabotaging peace, Vance came out at the White House and said, America makes all the weapons that Israel uses to defend itself. Now, that's a factual statement, but the implication was they should be grateful, and out of gratitude, they should obey us. But that's not what he said.
So that sounds oddly similar to what he said to Zelensky as well, right? So in Vance's defense, I'll say that he's at least consistent because he also expected Zelensky to be grateful. And so it sounds like he's actually holding Israel to the same standard that he's holding Ukraine. So if you're going to be getting all your weapons and everything from us, the least you can say is thank you rather than always asking for more. So I would say I'll give him the credit there. He is appearing to be consistent.